The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Earnestly Speaking podcast here, coming to you on July 9th, 2020, late night, 11 o'clock p.m. Recording this later than I wanted to because my kids, well, my youngest kid took a long time to go to sleep tonight. Which is surprising he didn't take a nap today. And I thought, hey, he'll come home. I went to my mom's house today real quick to get dinner. Came back home by 8 o'clock, left 8. Figured, okay, well, he'll be asleep within the hour. And he was exhausted. And he just would not go to sleep. Just playing on his iPad, playing on his tablet. Did not want to deal with that. So he didn't go to bed till literally like 10 after 10:30. So to be honest with you, I'm really forcing this because I honestly, I did a podcast yesterday. By the way, I hope you guys enjoyed that pod. I did last episode with my old colleague and friend Dave Ramil. He's the host of the Locked On Heat podcast. All you NBA nutcases out there, NBA fans. Him and I used to we used to write and do a podcast for a Miami Heat site for SB Nation about 6 years ago, and we talked about that a little bit on the show. The reason we did the show was because of the 10th anniversary of the decision. LeBron come to Miami. It's a big deal here for South Florida. So yeah, it was a good time with Dave yesterday, and I made some time to kind of reflect. I didn't know Dave back then, so I didn't. Obviously we told stories. I mean, in the past, I'm sure, about the decision and whatnot and what we were doing, but to reflect 10 years later, I can't believe it's been 10 years since the decision. It's time has flied. I mean, I was 30 years old when that happened. I'm 40. It's crazy. A whole decade. That's insane. As for life here in the Casa de Christian, the work schedule lately has gotten better. I actually got multiple days off finally after a whole month and a half, close to a month and a half of working. I would say tirelessly, but it hasn't been tirelessly because I've actually been able to leave early a lot, but not knowing how your day is gonna play out because you could get stuck at work whenever, if the boss needs you, he needs you. But being able to leave early has been good to at least be home with my kids and be able to hang out with them and to the pool and do all these other things, hang out with the wife, all that. But now I'm finally back to a normal schedule pre-pandemic, which is good. Again, schedule's not really perfect still, because there's still things that is not my old schedule. There's certain days I really rather have off, but I'll take what it is now. We got it close to where I used to have it. I think the only difference now is I'm working Saturdays now, and I used to have Saturdays off. Not a big deal right now, because with the pandemic, really nothing going on. I'm not really missing anything. The only reason I love Saturdays off was the fact that college football during the fall, but we may even get that this year. I mean, that's a real thing. We may not get comfortable this year, and that's going to be kind of sad. But at the same time, the circumstances are serious. Another good thing too. Also, I was going to work about 9 in the morning. Now people say, "Oh, come on, complain about 9 o'clock in the morning." Well, the fact of the matter is, I've been in this job for 17 years, and the earliest I'm going to work is at 10 o'clock, and that was years ago. I've been working nights or mid shifts over the course of the last 16, 17 years. And the last month and a half, I've been going to work at 9 o'clock in the morning. Waking up really early in the morning, which is I'm not used to that. Other than take my kid to school, I don't typically go to work normally until about 11, maybe noon. So I have time to settle in my day. So I'm kind of gone back to sleeping in a little bit more. I'm going to work now a little bit later. Not quite noon, but a little 11 o'clock in the morning. That's been pretty good. Yeah, eating my work today. It's been pretty good. So I've been able to sleep in a little bit, be able to have more days off and have more time with my family, with my mom and all that. I was there today too, hanging out with my mom today. It was a really good conversation, of course. My mom's like my best friend. She's really awesome, honestly. So yeah. Anyway, other than the work schedule, did you guys see, rare NFL news here that we've been on the show. We've been talking because there hasn't been much NFL stuff to talk about because who knows if we begin the season this year. Patrick Mahomes got paid this week to the tune of I believe the contract actually if he hits all the incentives, it's really a $500 million plus contract. Now, obviously, he has to hit all the incentives. And you look at that deal face value without looking into the details, and I say devil, but the devil in the details, of course. But looking into the details of the contract, you would think, oh damn, that's just a lot of money. But in fact, 10-year deal, $500 million plus dollars. It has to be team friendly, and you're looking at all the incentives and stuff. It is team friendly. There's still flexibility in that contract. It's quite possible. In fact, I almost will guarantee it. Assuming Mahomes is still playing at a high level, that there'll be a restructure of that deal probably by the middle of the contract, toward the end of the contract. Mahomes is really young. Mahomes is 25 years old, 24 years old, so he could still be in his prime, really. Based on the rules of the league, and look at Tom Brady playing at 43 years old. Patrick Mahomes, as soon as he's healthy, could be playing in his prime well into his mid-30s. And he'll still have value in that contract. There's still a chance that they'll restructure that deal also too going forward. Maybe add new money in that if he's still playing at a high level by then. Which at this point, I don't see why he wouldn't. The guy's amazing. He's right now the best quarterback in football. It is not even close, honestly. It's not even close. He is by far the best quarterback in football. But yeah, it's actually, you look into the details of the deal, it is really a team-friendly deal. All the options out there are team options on the deal. So the Chiefs have to have the power in terms of whether or not they opt out of the contract. But again, the expectation is that Pat Mahomes will be playing at a high level by even 5-6 years into the deal, because the kid's 20. I don't know his exact age, but he's definitely mid-20s. And with the rules in the NFL now, it's pro quarterback, pro offense. You can play into your late 30s to still be highly productive. Look at Drew Brees, look at Tom Brady, even Aaron Rodgers. Despite the injuries, so they did the right thing and locked him up. Mahomes off the market. There's no chance to leave KC anytime soon. And the deal, because it's still year to year, it's still I don't have the exact numbers here, but there's still a lot of flexibility for the Chiefs to still spend every year on new players, on talent and whatnot, because by stretching out a deal this long, it allows that to happen. Because they still got to lock up Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, all those guys. They're up for new deals in the next year or two. So, but yeah, congrats to Pat Mahomes, by far the best quarterback in football today. Super Bowl champion already in his third year. Technically his third year, second full year as quarterback. I mean, unbelievable. He's on his way to being one of the all-time greats, if not the greatest. We'll see what happens. So there's that. Okay. Kanye West announced this week, and I thought it was a joke, but Kanye West this week announced, and he's teased in the past about running for president. Well, on Twitter, he announced this past Saturday that he is running for president of the United States. Obviously, it's an election year. Here's his tweet announcing his candidacy for president. He says this, quote, "We must now realize the promise of America by trusting God, unifying our vision, and building our future. I am running for president of the United States. American flag, hashtag 2020 vision." First off, I gotta be honest with you, the words are positive, and personally, and for the record, I'm not taking them seriously, but those are the words. Like, if I didn't know who Kanye West was, and I saw that tweet, I'd be like, okay, that's not too bad. 2020 vision, not a bad slogan either. I find myself, however, and by the way, I'll say it again, I'm not taking it seriously at all. I think this is all PR and all this. But hypothetically, who would his running mate be, actually? Who is he still cool with? Like, he hasn't really been part of the hip-hop community, really, in that way, in quite a while. He's been pretty much, I don't know, him and Jay-Z not boys anymore. I would have said Jay-Z, 10 years ago, but him and Jay-Z not boys anymore, apparently. Who would be his running mate? I mean, I don't know. Maybe somebody in his family? I don't know. Interesting. There's a lot of folks, though, I go on social media and with the story, and there's a lot of folks, actually, that are worried, because especially the anti-Trump crowd, are worried that he can actually split the black vote, or at least impact the black vote in that way. And I'm here to tell you that ain't gonna happen. I mean, first off, let me be clear here. If you're anybody, black, white, Spanish, doesn't matter. If you're anybody that even takes this seriously and votes for Kanye West, that reflects more on you as a person than Kanye West, to be honest with you. I'm just saying. Okay? Look, I have nothing against Kanye West, personally. Obviously, he has his issues, I believe. I believe he's a very talented guy. I love his music, obviously. He's a great producer, great hip-hop artist, of course. Folks have a lot of strong opinions about him these days, about his recent conservative leanings, which honestly, I mean, does it bother me? It doesn't bother me about his conservative leanings that more so, but some of the things he said in that echo chamber, some of the things he said about, slavery being a choice, people making it a choice back in the 1800s, like stupid shit like that, for example, turn me off. I have no problem with people, having their own truths. People are allowed to have an opinion. People are allowed to have a position on what they want to do. It bothers me that people actually look down on black conservatives, for example. First off, I come from that world. I don't consider myself a conservative anymore. I'm more of a centrist. Some of my views have progressed as I've gotten older. I do have conservative views, especially in the kind of economical sector of things. But I would never begrudge anyone if they truly believe what they're saying, to stand their own truth. You know what I'm saying? It's their opinion. That's it. And they shouldn't be, in my opinion, chastised or, I mean, you have an opinion about what he's doing, of course, but, come on. But again, I don't think he'll impact the black vote whatsoever. I think there's a lot of blacks who really, aside from the great music, really don't take him serious anyway. Some blacks I talk to, my family and whatnot, and folks who love him but believe he's mentally ill, whatever. I don't think he'll impact the vote. I think this story will go away pretty quick, to be honest with you. I think there's a lot of folks in this country now who are taking this election very seriously. And I don't think Kanye West will be the guy that's going to split the vote. The guy's going to impact the vote. This is not Gary Johnson 2016 or Jill Stein. Okay? I think, again, because of the seriousness of the country now, there's two polarizing, well, really one polarizing president in Donald Trump. Either you love him or you hate him. There's really no middle ground with Donald Trump. It's either you love him or you hate him. And a lot of folks who may not want to vote for him, but they like some of the policies he puts together, passes, whatever, or they don't like the left and how they act, how their behavior is, whatnot. There's a lot of fear there. I get that. I don't think folks. I would say, and I'm probably giving people too much credit in this country. I would think common sense will play out here in the end when it comes to this. So I don't think this Kanye West thing will have zero impact whatsoever. Again, if folks vote for Kanye West, it says more about you than them. So I guess about that. All right. As far as things I've been watching the last couple days, I've been binging political stuff heavy for the last few days, few weeks, whatever you call it. I've just finished watching the documentary on. I said on the last solo episode. I watched the Richard Nixon documentary on CNN that came out last spring. That I just finished recently, the 6-part documentary on the Bush family, George Bush, George W. Bush, HW, all that 6-part documentary. Really good stuff. Really enjoyed it. And I've admitted this in the past before. I voted for Bush in 2004 for re-election because again, my reason was more so that because of the war, it was we obviously my opinion changed as time went on. It wasn't safe to change leadership at that point. And plus I didn't trust John Kerry. Come on now, John Kerry's a flip-flopper. Let's be real, okay? But watching the documentary, honestly, say what you want about politically where you stand. I mean, very respectful family. Watching actually the one person I really truly was really impressed by was George H.W. Now obviously I wasn't old enough to vote for him in '88 because I was 8 years old. Him and Dukakis, but his story You know, him being loyal, his loyalty. He seemed like a real good dude. You know, politics aside, he's like a real good dude. Wasn't a, you know, you look at George H.W. and even George W., who was a little more polarizing in 2000s, and you line up with Trump, you know, politics aside, the empathy between those two guys and Donald Trump is night and day. You know, it's funny, a lot of people in my family cannot stand George W. Bush, okay? And now they say Donald Trump, and they can't stand him even more. And I sometimes want to think, you know, you thought that George Bush was bad. Would you rather have George Bush or Donald Trump? But the documentary was really good. Like, seeing the core of the family, you know, Barbara Bush being obviously one of the main foundations of that family, and the tightness and the closeness of that family. You know, Jeb Bush and, you know, his aspirations to get into politics, but George W. cut the line because George Bush's personality was probably more deceptive. It was a fascinating documentary. I really enjoyed it. And again, a lot more respect for the Bush family too. I mean, obviously George W. Bush being very toxic over the course of the last decade because of his, especially the second term, you know, between Katrina and, you know, the Iraq War and, you know, the crisis, the housing crisis, the economy that fell apart in 2008. Very polarizing. But, and I've always said this too when it comes to George W. Bush, especially. Like, I may not agree with him politically on a lot of things, but I don't think there's any president out there that I would, like, if you told me I got have a beer with George Bush, I would in a heartbeat. He seems like a really nice guy, cool, nice guy to have a conversation with. You know, again, politics aside, you know, but I enjoyed the documentary. I thought it was really good. Again, I learned a lot about the family, and, you know, big family too, man, very tight knit from the grandparents all the way down to the kids, and, you know. By the way, George W. Bush's kids are gorgeous. The twins, Jenna and I think it was Barbara Pierce. Barbara Pierce. She was featured in the documentary too. Wow, beautiful girl. I caught up finally on the Circus on the Showtime, Circus season 5. Obviously, the Circus is a show that's been out for 5 years. Focused on the political landscape. Now, I watched the first 2 seasons of Circus back in 2016 and 17. I love season 1. Season 1 pretty much focused on the campaigns, you know, and the election, the campaigns leading up from the Iowa caucus all the way through the election of 2016 between Hillary and Trump. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And, you know, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I felt the wagon after season 2. But I do plan on watching the middle seasons. So season 5 is basically focused on, again, same thing, same scenario. Leading up to the caucuses in Iowa, going through the first couple, you know, obviously the caucuses through Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Nevada, and Super Tuesday, of course. The show pretty much is at a standstill now because of the coronavirus, and they're 10 episodes in, and they stopped production because of the coronavirus. But, you know, I love this show too. You know, you have Alex Wagner from The Atlantic, who's a phenomenal writer, number one. Mark McKinnon, who was the former Bush consultant. You have, of course, Mark Hellman. Is it Mark Hellman? I think his name is. Bald guy, real funny guy in the show too, by the way. He's on the show, and they go, you know, they go across the country and they follow the campaigns and stuff, and it's really, really good. It's funny, every time I watch the show I get hungry, because what they do also, when they start the show, they're all together in a restaurant talking, you know, and whatever city they're in, they're all in the restaurant cuddled up and, you know, discussing the week at large, all that, and then they go into the footage of behind the scenes, the campaign. So, you know, obviously this season you see behind the scenes of Bernie Sanders, his campaign, and, you know, Amy Klobuchar, Pete Buttigieg, obviously Joe Biden. You know, it's really good stuff, man. I really enjoyed the show. It's really excellent insight in how presidential campaigns look and move during the height of campaign season. You know, it's funny, that show actually. I remember watching season 1, and I'm not a Ted Cruz fan whatsoever. You know, can't stand him at all. But season 1 and seeing Ted Cruz behind the scenes, they actually humanized Ted Cruz in a really, really, really shocking way. They really humanized Ted Cruz on that show. Season 1, my favorite was John Kasich. It's actually watching that show where I really grown to like John Kasich. And again, I've said numerous times, so over the course of the last couple of years, had he won a nomination for the Republican Party in 2016, I would vote for him over Hillary Clinton. But of course, that didn't happen because Donald Trump took over the Republican Party. It is what it is, man. That's just the way things go now. So I'm quite on the Circus. I'm watching the middle seasons 3 and 4 at some point in the next couple of weeks. What else I watched recently? Oh, I finally got to watch 13th on Netflix. It's been out a couple of years actually, but I finally got to sit down with my wife and watch it. It's a documentary by Ava DuVernay, focusing on present-day mass incarceration. You think you know everything, but you don't realize just how things are, how things are systematically broken in this country. The documentary was an eye-opener for myself and my wife. I gotta tell you, watching that documentary, and I told my wife this the other night after watching it, that it really did make me question God's existence. And obviously I know God exists, in my opinion, it's my belief that God exists, my faith. But I came away just so angry and disturbed by just how things are systematically in this country. And I love this country, and I'm proud to be an American, and I stand for the anthem and all that. But there's just certain things in this country systematically that are broken, and we have to acknowledge that, okay? And seeing this documentary, only makes that, even more obvious. It took me a few years to watch this documentary, but I finally got we were able to lock in and do it and watch it. But yeah, I can't wait watching it. I was just so angry, and it's kind of like how it was when I was younger, watching The Roots and some other movies to that ilk, racist movies, of course. And I don't know, it's disturbing just watching 13th and just how systemic this has been for a long time. Jim Crow and whatnot, and how and it's so easily done. Even with the civil rights movement, it's still a way to still enslave, minorities and blacks and all that. It's an eye opener. It really is an eye opener, honestly. I used to be very big on Law and Order, and I'm still big on Law and Order for the most part. But there's a lot more nuance in the conversation, especially not watching something like this. I really hope people really do find a way. If you haven't seen this documentary on Netflix, please do. At least open your mind to this. You may even agree with it after watching it. You may think, this is just all stuff drummed up from the left and stuff drummed up from certain organizations and stuff. But the numbers don't lie. The numbers are numbers, and it shows exactly the mass incarceration. This is not also partisan either, because they criticize not just Republicans like Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan and their involvement. They also criticize the Clintons too. The Clintons get beat up here also too. So again, 13th, check it out on Netflix, please. I know it's been out a couple of years now, but wow, I finally able to watch with my wife a couple days ago. It's really shocking just how bad things are and how systemic things are in this country. All right. What else I want to talk about before I get out of here? Oh yeah. So a little wrestling news here. Don't know if you guys care about this, but I haven't watched it yet. But it was a spoiler last week, and they finally had a match yesterday. But Keith Lee is now the new NXT champion. Obviously, I'm sure we'll talk about this in great detail on the wrestling podcast this weekend with Mike and Joe. Keith Lee beat Adam Cole. Adam Cole was the longest reigning NXT champion. And, I'm happy that Keith Lee won it, of course. I do think, though, part of me does believe, though, that maybe they pulled the trigger too soon on Keith Lee. Do they do this, make this move, this change of the belt, if we're not in a pandemic? Obviously, Keith Lee's gotten a lot of attention the last 6 to 8 months. Gotten a lot of love. His appearance in the Royal Rumble, the appearance in Survivor Series last year. He's gotten, he got the North American Championship from Roderick Strong a couple months ago. But I didn't think they pulled the trigger this soon. And I'm worried now, too, as well, because there's been some rumblings that the Undisputed Era may be going to, get called up to Raw and SmackDown. Which, honestly, if NXT is being looked at as an equal to Raw and SmackDown, I really hope they keep Undisputed Era there. only because to keep NXT fresh. Because I feel like, part of the reason I love NXT so much is because I love Adam Cole and that faction and Keith Lee. They already moved Matt Riddle up about a month ago. They already moved up Shayna Baszler. A couple other people there, moved up. And I'm worried that they're going to end up taking these talents at NXT who make NXT shine, and then they get lost in a shuffle on Raw and SmackDown. Now, to be fair, so far, and I haven't really been able to watch it in detail much in the last month or so, but Matt Riddle has been used pretty well on SmackDown. But again, SmackDown needs a lot of star power. They are devoid of star power anyway. So, but Keith Lee becoming NXT champion, it's probably more than just Keith Lee winning championship. I'm really curious if this is going to be the end of the NXT era in NXT. That's my concern. And of course, like I said, on the Wrestling Podcast, Take the Wrestling Podcast, you find it, of course, on any podcast platform. We're gonna definitely discuss that probably on the show this coming weekend, Sunday night when we record. So look out for that. But yeah, I'm really concerned about whether or not they're gonna make more changes to NXT, especially now with the pandemic too. So, alright, finally go. Bomani Jones, probably my favorite sports personality in the business. Signed an extension this week with ESPN. A little shocked, only because he lost his TV show with Pablo Torre back in March, High Noon. I thought maybe, if that was the case, maybe they were considering Bomani's considering moving to other places, maybe Fox. I don't know. But I'm glad they kept him on here. I'm glad ESPN worked it out and extended him to a multi-year deal. To me, Bomani Jones is the most talented sports media personality in the business. He might actually be the most talented media personality. Period. We're talking politics, sports, pop culture. I've been following Bomani Jones since 2003, and more so in the late 2000s, when he had his radio show with The Score. I remember him, Bomani Jones, first. He wrote for ESPN's Page 2 back in the mid-2000s. The first time I saw Bomani Jones was actually on a Michael Jackson documentary back in 2003. And he was talking about, just about his career and whatnot. And I remember him watching him on there, really bright guy. It's like, okay, cool, this guy's what he's talking about. And then I've seen him write a couple times on Page 2 in the mid-2000s. And then remember seeing him, where I became a huge fan, I saw him on First Take back in 2009, I think during the summer, where he was filling in for Skip Bayless or filling for one of the guests on there. And I remember him talking. I remember him cutting through the noise. And I remember this dude from back a couple years ago. This dude knows what he's talking about. Come to find out, did some research on him, had his own radio show with a score. He was doing a show out of North Carolina. The show was based out of Canada, so the producers were in Canada. He was in North Carolina doing the show. That show really inspired me a lot, because that show was what started me wanting to get into sports media, get into media again. That's around the time where I stopped doing music and really had the itch to get back to doing sports media. Didn't know where to go, and I still was confused on whether I want to do podcasting or radio or writing, all that. And then watching Bomani Jones' show, The Morning Jones, and not just the show, but the community he built around that show was just fascinating and amazing. And I actually made a couple friends through that. Because I remember I used to be a loyal listener every morning. Listen to the podcast after. I wasn't sort of live all the time, but I'll catch the podcast hours later. It's funny. He's so talented. He's known for sports, of course, but his sports commentary isn't even his best. To me, Bomani dominates the music commentary. His music opinions, to me, are even better, which is amazing. And I don't always agree with him. I really don't. In fact, a lot of times I don't agree with what he's saying. But the thing is with Bomani that separates him from the rest of the pack is that he always leaves me thinking, actually, after each show, after each podcast, after each TV appearance. He leaves me thinking. He leaves me. I always feel smarter now when I listen to him, because he just has a way with a conversation, bring perspective in a different way. I'm really curious now with this extension now, because obviously he's doing his podcast with, the right time twice a week and all that. He does appearances on Highly Questionable. He comes on the Levitar Show once in a while. ESPN has actually did their new lineup for 2019 for the rest of the year. I'm really curious what this move would mean for him. He'll appear on different other shows, but yeah, he's great, man. But Bomani is one of the best talents. To me, the best talent really at ESPN, probably in all sports media and probably all media in general. So really glad he's being able to continue doing big things with ESPN. So anyway, that is it for me. That's 30 minutes of this podcast for July 9th, 2020. We'll do another pod hopefully over the weekend. We'll see what happens. Again, I'm on Twitter at EJChristian7. Subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify especially, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, and again, of course, check out my YouTube page, Earnest Christian. Look up Earnest Christian on my YouTube page. You'll find episodes of these shows, as well as clips and all that and whatnot. So until then, love you guys. Take care, and see ya.